Hi, everybody. Great to be with you. Oh, welcome. We're gonna do some stuff. Pressing play on change. So for those of you who are brand new, touch yourself. If you have like the skin of a baby, I'm talking to you. Like, ooh, ooh, I'm so new. Oh, sorry, got a little distracted. My OCD met my ADHD in an autistic land where everything came together at the same time. Um, this may be a good time to let you know that you create far more change with laughter than you do with tears. Now, you may not laugh at me, but at least laugh at yourself. Okay. So, for those of you who are brand new, I'm going to talk a little bit about this amazing gift that you may not know about called access consciousness verbal processing. It is a way of allowing you, as you navigate the journey of your life, to change the things that aren't working along the way. It's so friggin' simple. It's like somebody should have thought of this. Oh, we've been doing it for about 30 years on the planet. So it's out there if you know where to look. But the reason I wanted to do this live is because for the last 49 months, 50 months. This is the 50th month. I don't know about you, but I don't have an easy time doing anything for 1 month, let alone 50. But for 50 months, this is the 50th anniversary of something I've been doing called Dive In with Dain. And it was based on the awareness of the gift that this unique way of changing things can be for us. And what we'll do in an access consciousness class, at least part of the class will do verbal processing, like something will come up for someone. And in the moment, like let's say somebody gets the microphone. One of the things I love about access classes is people can get to the microphone and ask their actual questions, which, by the way, is always a contribution to everybody else, which is really cool too. It's this idea of oneness that we have where we're all interconnected, and this is a way we can contribute to each other. So somebody might get to the microphone and say, hey, I've had this problem with money for a while, help. And we're like, okay, cool. Based on what they're presenting and based on the state of the world and the universe at the moment and the tools, because we're always finding new tools, ways of changing things quicker, ways of making the change more dynamic. And based on that moment, we'll come up with a process. Sometimes it's never been heard before, and it starts to change things really dynamically. So somebody might say, hey, I'm really stuck with money. And wherever we're sticking ourselves is always an individual matter, but it also has threads that each of us can relate to. And the beauty of being able to have these verbal processes is that you can take your own personal recipe and rewrite it or dismantle it and throw it out in the moments of your life when something is going on. And it can be as simple as when you notice feeling stuck about something, or you have something coming up and you can feel the jitters start, and you're like, all you really have to do, the most basic form of verbal processing is using the access consciousness clearing statement. So all you have to do is get the energy of all that stuff and go, no more. I'm having something different. Everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it. And then you run the clearing statement. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. And you might notice it changes after just one time. Like when I did that with all of you, did something change in your world? And sometimes one time changes it all. Sometimes you have to do it several times. And so Dive In got created from the awareness that we were doing these amazing processes that would change things for all of us. And a lot of times, the only people that would hear it were the people that were in that particular class. And I had an idea one day. What would it be like to make all the processes, or at least the most effective processes from the previous month, available to everybody so that they could get the benefit of the verbal processing that was done and get the change that was done, whether they were part of the class or not? And over the last 4 years, it has morphed into where each dive in is not only an update on the state of the universe, because it's not just the verbal processes, it's also the conversation around these things that occurs. And I'll give you an example here in just a minute. And then I'm going to go through and run several processes, see what we might change for everybody. Because why not? And then also later, please come back and watch the video or listen to the video. The verbal part is far more important than the visual part, by the way. And I'm going to ask, will you destroy and uncreate? And what that means is that's a moment of choice for you. So let's say you've had a pattern that's gone on ever since you were a kid and it's still with you. And we'll come up with a process that addresses at least some part of it, if not all of it. And I'll say, hey, will you destroy and uncreate that? That's where this is beautiful, okay? This is where you get to make a different choice. This is where you, in saying yes, and you can choose not to, by the way, you don't have to let go of anything. I'm not the boss of you, you are, okay? And while we're at it, do not follow anyone except you, including me, okay? You know more about your life than I do. Please do not follow me. Please follow you. But the verbal processing creates this place where you start to get empowered also to trust yourself, to know that you know. And so when I ask, will you destroy and uncreate? That's your choice to choose something different. And one other caveat about this is please don't be cognitive. Your mind is a dangerous thing. Waste it. What this is about is the energetics of change. The weird part is a lot of us think we don't get energetics, but that's actually us. Everything we are is energetic. When you see somebody that makes you happy, that's an energy. When you see somebody who makes you angry, that's an energy. When you look at your bank account, that's an energy. We're totally energetic beings, and we've never really been introduced to that. But what happens is if you've ever been stuck in something and found, it feels like you got all these steel plates all around you, and somehow you manage to dislodge one of those and there's some space. Oh my God, that's really glorious. Well, imagine being able to dislodge all of those in every area of your life. So, I'm going to do some processing and then I'm going to show you a little bit about how it works in the dive-in universe. And dive-in, once again, it's a thing that you can get monthly. Or you can buy one-on-one, or you can buy all 50 that we've done. Ooh, that would be amazing. I just think about you listening to all 50 of those, having those on a loop for a couple of weeks. How different would your life be? And the thing about verbal processing is there's no way to explain it. You got to experience it, okay? Because I can talk about it all day long, but you'll try to put it in some reference to something else. There is no reference. There is no something else. And if you want to know what the clearing statement is, go to theclearingstatement.com. There's a long video there. There's a short video there of me and my friend Simone Millicis explaining it. But the part I just want to really quickly address is the POC and the POD. This clearing statement essentially is doing all kinds of things, but one of the biggest is going back to the point of creation of any choice you made that isn't as great as it could be and dissolving it. We're quite literally changing the past with this, okay? It's basically quantum physics meets personal development surrounded in a sea of consciousness, okay? Now, the other thing about consciousness is where you have total awareness. And when you function from consciousness, you don't choose limited things. It's like, what? But if you look at your life, how many limitations do you choose? What if that's just an area of unconsciousness that you bought, that you've been having in your life? And these clearings work so well on that. Okay, so here we go. I have a schmattering. As you might imagine, there have been thousands of processes over the 50 dive-ins that we have had. So I have a schmattering of them, darling. I'm going to schmatter you. No, that sounds weird. I don't think we want to be schmattered. Oh, well, if it doesn't matter, is it okay to be schmattered? I think I'm going to run a process on myself. Everything that doesn't allow me to be as funny as I would like to be, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poves, bases, creations, and beyond. Yeah, daddy need that one. Okay. Also, Everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything I say. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povas, bases, creations, and beyonds. Some of you like, we run that one a few hundred more times. Anyway, okay, so here we go. So what if you no longer avoided being oneness with the universe? Everything that is, everything that doesn't allow it, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Oh, there we go. You know, uh, sometimes it's nice to just take a moment and breathe in the space you created. See, the beauty of this is it's accessible to all of us. It's easy and it changes things. How does it get any better than that? Okay, so what have you decided the power of judgment is that it isn't? And how much of your life have you created based on the value of judgment that it doesn't actually have? Everything that is, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. So I'm just letting our phenomenal translators know. By the way, thank you, translators. You are wonderful. Kisses on all your cheeks. Thank you. But I'm letting them know that I skipped the second process and I added to the one that we just did. But our translators are amazing. They just pick it up and go. Okay, so, but I will sort of kind of follow stuff, maybe, probably. I'll try. Okay, I'm not the best at following directions, orders, or any line that has ever existed. I even argue with my GPS because I'm like, well, there's got to be a better way, right? I mean, come on. Anyway, okay. So now I'm gonna run this next process. And then I'm going to show you how it shows up in a dive in, because the other thing that I get to do, which is really cool, because I'm very blessed and fortunate. I'm on the creative edge of change in a lot of ways. And what I mean by that is in facilitating thousands of people every month and interacting with people, I can hear the common threads. And then my best friend Gary Douglas is like a white wizard of magnitude. And Gray Wizard? I don't know. Whatever the most powerful one, whatever. He's like Gandalf plus, Harry Potter, with a little hint of Hermione thrown in. Anyway, so what'll happen is I'll get these certain themes will emerge, and we'll have some conversations, and I'll talk to some other brilliant people that I know, and we'll find out what's going on for people, and then we'll find a unique way of unlocking it. Okay. And I get to have conversations about that in the dive in. So you don't just get the process, you get this sort of fullness of where it came from and how you can use it in your life. Because it's one thing to listen to me, and that can be a great contribution, or anybody else, in running these processes. For me, there's an even greater gift when you can take it into your life and use it and know when to use it and get the sense of the why and the how behind it. So everything you've done to allow money to short circuit the simultaneity of gifting and receiving, and everything you've done to not create your financial reality beyond this reality and beyond the other people's realities that you care about, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. So if I were recording this during dive-in, what I would explain is this idea of money short-circuiting the simultaneity of gifting and receiving. So one of the concepts that we became aware of, I say we because access from me is always a co-creation, but we came aware of a long time ago is there's gifting and receiving. And when those two should be simultaneous. Well, we live in a world of give and take. And so that's the structure that we've grown up with that we keep thinking must be real and trying to somehow go beyond. And what I found is that if you could imagine a dollar bill or $100 bill or €100 note or whatever it is, or even Australian pesos work for this description. So here's gifting, here's receiving simultaneously. If you could slip a dollar bill right in there, It's like we have this weird thing where money has to be a go-between in gifting and receiving, which then validates give and take. And whether you know it or not, the biggest issue with not having money is actually not receiving everything you can. Everything Nat brought up, times a godzillion, and everywhere money has gotten in the way of receiving. And money has become more valuable than receiving. And money has become the validity for your being and receiving that it's actually not. And everywhere you've made money greater than you, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right? Wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Barf bags are now 50 cents. Okay, did you need a barf bag after that one? You notice how in one paragraph I said so many things that kind of went ching, 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 ching. And here's the other thing. Without this clearing statement, in the rest of your life, that is your life. You talk to somebody, you read something, you scroll, you look at the mess, you talk to somebody else, you look at a bank account, you look at your work schedule, and you go ching, 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 ching. And then you're like, why can I not be happy? Can everybody go away so I can be happy, please? Well, what we do with this is you go ching, 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 ching. And then I say, we destroy and uncreate it. So what it creates is a totally different perspective from avoiding the shit of life that comes up that seems like the only way of getting away from it is avoiding it, to welcoming it, because if it's coming up, all you got to do is go, I destroy and uncreate that, and bye-bye. Dude, this is a total friggin' game changer. And then with the loops each month, addressing a lot of the energetic stuff that nobody else knew was going on last month. Okay. It's amazing. And what it does, it keeps you up to date in real time and undoes a lot of the sort of yuck, stuck, and what the fuck stuff that most people gather as they live their lives. Okay. So, how many of you have misidentified and misapplied what fun is? And you think it's creating obstacles and overcoming them instead of actualizing possibilities with ease. Everywhere, your greatest idea of fun is being a problem solver. Everywhere you have is a little badge of honor. I'm the best problem solver in the whole wide world. I am the problem solver for my family and all families. I am the problem solver of the universe. Therefore, I am good and not bad. Will you destroy and uncreate all that shit, please? Plus, you can't be the best problem solver. I am nanny, nanny, nanny. Ha. Just, pocket pot, pocket pot, pocket pot. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay, now there's an older form of processing that I'm going to use here. So, what judgments, agendas, inventions, and lies are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared to prove that you will always remember your past so you never have to create a future that doesn't include who, what, where, when, why, and how you have been, so that you can choose to be anything you desire whenever you desire it? Are you choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. By the way, thank you guys for your comments and gratitude. Oh, that right there is a simultaneity of gifting and receiving, okay? Because when you truly receive the gift that I'm here gifting, it's a gift to me to have that received. That's the simultaneity of gifting and receiving. And interestingly, even with just an acknowledgement of that energy, you can get the sense of how weird and twisted things get when you add money to the mix as though it is anything. What if money is an afterthought of creation and consciousness? We've said forever, what if money is just a byproduct of creation? But what if it's an afterthought of creation and consciousness? Anyway, everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, and what's true for you, we destroy and uncreate it, please. Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. So everything you've done to buy that the only way you're going to have everything you desire is by not knowing what it is, will you destroy and uncreate all that, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, about all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. And what we're addressing in that is that idea of I don't know what I want. And if I do know what I want, then I won't be able to create it. It's like, um, there's got to be something different. And here's the other part of this that these processes and listening to the dive-ins will show you is there's got to be something different. The difficulty is we keep looking for different through the eyes of the reality that we've lived rather than the gift of what we as beings know is possible. And that's really what this starts to open up. The more you listen to these processes, the more what's true for you simply shows up for you. And it's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-boggling. I've been using these processes for over 25 years to change every area of my life and help other people do the same. And it still boggles me what is actually possible to change that most people don't even know about, which is the other weird part to me, that most people don't even know about it. So anyway, excuse me. So how much are you hiding what you're capable of based on the hidden lie that it's evil? Every one of your capacities that you've been implanted and explanted to believe are evil, wrong and bad, and destructive rather than creative, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Everywhere you've been looking for validation and refusing to give yourself acknowledgement, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, about all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, here's another element. And once again, this would be a path I would take if I were doing a dive in. So this will be a lot like a dive in when you listen. So the thing about validation is you only look for validation or acknowledgement from others when you're not acknowledging yourself. Okay. Number one, validation is always a judgment. In other words, you're looking for them to validate your judgment of you, which is interesting in itself. But the thing I think that has the ability to set us free is whenever you are looking for validation or acknowledgement from someone, you want to ask yourself, what acknowledgement am I not giving myself that I could? What acknowledgement am I not giving myself or being for myself? The interesting part is when you get that and you actually acknowledge you, what happens is you don't need validation or acknowledgement from anybody else. A lot of people don't know this. Most people don't know this. Even people that have a sense of it will still get caught in the trap of wanting to be validated or acknowledged by somebody. The difficulty is when you do that, you make yourself a second-class citizen, requiring the first-class citizen to validate you, and you are not a second-class citizen. So everything that is, all the acknowledgement you have not been giving you that causes you to seek validation from others, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, about all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Next one. Who, what, where, when, why, and how would you be, and would your body be, if you had absolutely no wrongness and couldn't create any ever again for all eternity? Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, sometimes I just want to run it again because it was so good. And I know you're going to be looping it, hopefully, so you'll hear it again, but I want to run that again. So who, what, where, when, why, and how would you be, and would your body be, if you had absolutely no wrongness and couldn't create any ever again for all eternity? Everything that is times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it all, please. Right and wrong, everything that doesn't allow it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, here's the beauty of the way this works is even if I screw up the words, it still works. It's not about having to be perfect anymore. Yeah, you want to identify the energy to the best of your ability if you're using words about it, but we don't have to be perfect anymore. Okay, so since I said that, dear Lord, how many standards of perfection do you have? And how much do you think if you can be perfect enough, you can stop being a second-class citizen? Everything that is times a godzillion, you little cutie pie. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, about all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Wow. Okay, so I want to talk to you about something that came up in the last couple of months that has made its appearance in the last two dive-ins at least, and that is something called platforms. A platform is a structure, an energetic structure. Hello, lizard. Do you want to dive in with us? You Okay, you know how lizards do that with their head? He's sitting there, I'm like, do you want to dive in with us? And he goes, oh, welcome to my ADHD mind. And now he's flirting. He's doing the hey, how you doing? Anyway, so a platform is who, what, where, when, why, and how you are. It's an energetic structure that you invent that is not truly you, that you use as a way of creating an autopilot for interacting with the entire world. What the F? Okay. Basic access tool. What's true makes you lighter. A lie makes you heavier. So a lot of times when you're functioning from your platform, it'll have a heaviness to it where you feel like you need to fight for or against something or someone. And we've mistaken that energy of the rightness of our fight for something that is true for us, even though it's not light. Everything that is, everywhere you've misidentified and misapplied your autopilot and then fighting for it as though it's you, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Wow. You know, when I said that, I realized we've been doing a lot of fighting for and against, a lot of proving. What if it's not our greatest choice anymore? What if we don't have to anymore? Everything that is, everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive it, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. So while we're at it, all of your platforms and all the ones you bought or duplicated or took from others that create the necessity of fighting for what is not you, that create the impossibility of relaxing and being you, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. So all of your platform that is about maintaining your platform, all of your platforms that are about maintaining your platforms, all of your platforms that you have intertwined with others, and that is what you call family. That is what you call relationship. That is what you call connection. That is what you call your relationship to money, your relation to creation, your relationship to the world. Everything that is, could you just get a sense of not having to have that anymore? And will you say yes, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. So this little segment right here is exactly what I do with Dive In. And interestingly, it's Somewhat, but not that different in doing it live with a bunch of people. Because one of the capacities I have is to tap into everybody's world who's going to be listening to it. And then I just ask, what is the greatest contribution I can be? What can I say and be and do that will be the greatest contribution for everybody that will ever hear this? And then stuff just shows up. So I wanted to bring in that platform part because it's something I want all of you to be able to pock and pod in your lives. And you may not have the total idea of it, but anywhere you're stuck in who, what, where, when, why, and how you are, who, what, where, when, why, and how you're not, anywhere you're stuck in who, what, where, when, why, and how you have been, as though you need to carry that forward for even another moment, that's platforms. Everything that is, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Wouldn't it be interesting if we had enough of us together, enough of us who had the sort of ease with this verbal processing and the what it does and allowed it in? Wouldn't it be interesting if there were enough of us around the world that could get together and at one moment go, bye-bye platforms, hello possibilities? I'm asking. Will you ask also, please? I think that would be so cool because we are fully capable of creating a sustainable, living, thriving earth that actually works for all of us. We just got to stop believing and pretending that we're somehow second-class citizens who don't have the capacity. And part of what Dive In shows you is that things are not only changeable, but that when you think you're in the biggest pile of poo possible, I will tell you exactly what's going on and then help you out of it. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't think this would ever change. Well, what if you're connected to all of us who are choosing more? And what if there are life rafts everywhere if you're just willing to receive them? So everything that doesn't allow you to be willing to receive all the contributions that consciousness is, that even, wait for it, even people can be. Whoa, will you destroy and uncredit all that, please? I'm kidding. Right, wrong, good and bad, sort of. Pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Like those of you who have pets, your pet is a contribution. But people, dolphins and whales are a contribution. You just see them, you're like, oh, kittens are a contribution. You see them, you're like, oh, people? Well, what if that is a function primarily of platforms and the structure of reality that keeps people trying to be something that they're not, so they can't be what they are to be there as a contribution to you and all of us? Everything that is and everything you've done to make you a people, which keeps you in a constant state of judgment. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Will you give up being a people now, people? People, will you stop being people? Thank you. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay. So how much have you been computing to try to create money when in actuality, money is a function of the joy of receiving, the joy of being, and the joy of creation? Everything that is times a godzillion. And are any of those computations actually even yours? Or is it something you grew up around and duplicated and have never asked, is any of this actually mine? All of that and all the parts of that that are part of your platforms. There's either one or many, probably many. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. It's interesting. I'm skipping the next process because I basically already run it while I was talking, but that's exactly how this works. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive the gift of possibilities your body presents and is already capable of right now, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Sweet body. See, one of the other things I love about Dive In is it covers every subject. In fact, subjects you didn't even know existed, it will cover those too and help you unlock those. So we get to body, we get to relationships, we get to money, we get to happiness, we get to creation, we get to all kinds of things. But that's the way we should be able to be in our lives, is be able to have ease and peace with everything. So, what interesting point of view can you be that opens the space for a greater possibility? Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay, I want to talk to you about a subject that made its debut, debut. It made its its debut in the, sometimes when you talk a lot and then you say a word you said a billion times, it sounds really weird. You ever have that? Like debut. And then I think of the spelling, and then I can't think of anything else but debut. Oh, maybe that's what it is. It's all about debut, Bob. On a game show back in the 70s. It was a couples game show where they would ask one question, then the other, and no, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to say it. It's about the butt, though. I'll tell you. It was a newlywed game, and and the host asked the husband, "Where is the strangest place you've had sex?" And the guy goes, "In the butt, Bob. Definitely in the butt." Which reminds me of the word that I just got stuck on, which is also why I ran before. Everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything I say, pocket pod. By the way, if you don't enjoy this, Dive In may or may not be for you. I'm not sure. We'll see how we go. Oh my goodness. Although there are very few jokes about that. So, the other thing that made its debut, see, now I can say it. Now that I've had my conversation, I can say it. The other thing that made its debut in the last Dive In was something called intertwining of cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, they're basically, if you look from a psychological perspective, it's where there are two simultaneous realities that don't make sense and you can't seem to bring them together. And from the time this subject came out several months ago, I've been looking at it and I realized for a lot of us, cognitive dissonance is a dissonance between what you as a being know should exist. Like imagine being a little kid and energetically perceiving mommy and daddy doing in their lives in these different ways. And you were like, but wait, it should be this way. Like, how much of your life have you been, what? It should be this way. Why is this showing up? Like, look at the world right now. If you talk about a recipe for cognitive dissonance. And so, what gets created with cognitive dissonance is this stuck thing that we can pock and pod. See, I can say it. I can talk to you about the stuck thing. The beauty of it is anytime you notice it, go, okay, whatever that is, pock and pod, or all the cognitive dissonance, pock and pod. See, cognitive dissonance, being very Italian about it. Dissonancia cognitivo. No, that's probably not Italian for cognitive dissonance, but I tried. You're welcome. Everything that doesn't allow me to speak Italian right now, pock and pod. Buongiorno. No, sorry. I know. Wouldn't it be awesome if it worked? If it does, I'll let you know. I'll come on and I will do a special Zoom just for that. Okay. Anyway, but what we found, we've been working with this for many, many, many months, this cognitive dissonance thing, and pock and potting it whenever it comes up. And then recently we found this thing called intertwining of cognitive dissonance, which is where you don't just have your cognitive dissonance. What you do is you have something will activate it, and then you tap into everybody's cognitive dissonance about that subject throughout the world. It is a recipe for being super stuck. Also, certain people in your lives are a node for intertwining of cognitive dissonance. They're the people who you know could have something different, but they never choose it. And you always feel like it's your job to try to find some way to untwist them so they can stop being in cognitive dissonance, so they can start to have a life. And you always feel like it's your responsibility and it's your fault and it's your problem. And whenever they're around you or whenever you talk to them, it feels this twisty thing that just gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and you don't know what to do. Now you do. Intertwining of cognitive dissonance. So the intertwining of cognitive dissonance that you have that cause you to get stuck in people's worlds and their limitations and their insanities, that cause you to get stuck by the insanity of the world, where you know there should be something else possible. And so you just get kind of closed down and stuck and maybe resentful and maybe angry because there's so many lies involved. All the intertwining of cognitive dissonance and all of your platforms that create you going there, and all of your platforms that create you going there on autopilot, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Whew! How much energy have you spent controlling you? Everything that is times a gazillion, all of your platforms, creating all of that, and all of your intertwining cognitive dissonance, so you can make sure you're doing it appropriately. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. So everywhere you've decided you don't understand choice, you don't get choice, and you don't know how to choose, and all of your platforms and all of the cognitive dissonance and intertwining cognitive dissonance, creating all of that and connected to that and perpetrating that and everything else connected to that, creating that and perpetrating that, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Whew. By the way, if you desire to get all 50 of the last loops, we have made that available at a very special price. If you want to start the monthly thing and get the loops, you get an even more special price. Okay, cool. So there's the info you need to know. So what's your body telling you that you're not listening to? How much of not listening to your body is your platforms and intertwining of cognitive dissonance with all people with bodies and all people that used to have bodies? Hey, everything that is, times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Whose pain and what pain are you holding on to in the hopes of finally changing it? Everything that is, times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Now, did you notice some of you in the back of your head went, and all the platforms and all the intertwining of cognitive dissonance? Yeah, I gotcha. Good for you. That's the way you want to do it. Ah, see, these things, when something is presented to you that's actually true, and there's not a lot of it in this world, okay? What's true makes you lighter. But when something is, and you also have a sense that it can contribute to changing something, you hold on to it very quickly. Like it becomes part of your repertoire very quickly. Also, whose pain, I'm going to run that process again the way it's actually written this time. Whose pain and what pain are you holding on to in the hopes of finally receiving? How much have you decided that you need to hold on to pain in order to receive? That it would be bad for you to receive if you weren't in pain, inappropriate for you to receive if you weren't in pain. Everything that is, you little kitty pie, all the platforms, all the intertwining of cognitive dissonance and everything else creating that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. If you could truly trust in consciousness and the universe, would you ever have to assume a negative outcome ever again? Ugh. All the platforms, all the intertwining of cognitive dissonance that keep you from trusting in the universe, being able to relax and being able to know that there doesn't ever again have to be a negative outcome with anything. Will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, podpoc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. How many things have you committed to healing and changing for people that basically cause you to have to take it away forever? That's something called the fifth element, something that has been in several dive-ins. The fifth element is where you have to keep trying to heal people, take away their pain and their suffering, their unconsciousness, and come away feeling wrong every time because it's impossible to do. Everything that is, all the platforms, all of the intertwining of cognitive dissonance and everything else creating all of that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay, I got a sense that y'all out there have reached about where we wanted to go. That's great. Or maybe further than you thought we could go. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could have this running in the background of your life? I've noticed, and I have tried to convey this to people for a long time, because I started this 25 years ago. I was the very first person to listen to Access Consciousness classes on a loop, on a cassette player, by the way, with over-the-ear headphones. Does anybody remember what any of those things are? No, of course you don't. But I realized that every time I would listen, there was a space that seemed to be around me that made everything easier. It was like I had the space of me in more of my life. So I just kept listening and listening and listening and have for 25 years. And it doesn't take 25 years. What you're able to get from Access right now is so much greater than what was available when I started. So much greater, which is as it should be. So I'm going to do a couple more and then I will kiss you on your cheeks and send you off to live your glorious living. So, how many of you have decided that your greatest power and ability is the ability to stop things? Everywhere that's the one time you'll use your power, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyond. Are you really as needy as you pretend to be? Or are you pretending to be as needy as the people in your life and in your past needed you to be? Everything that is, all the platforms, all the intertwining of cognitive dissonance, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. I'm skipping to the next one. How many of you came to your parents to try to make them happy and to try to make their lives better? Have you succeeded? All the bases for that create a nonstop, continuous sense of judgment of you. While we're at it, all the platforms and all the intertwining of cognitive dissonance of that create a nonstop, continuous sense of judgment of you for not making them happy. And everywhere you bend, fold, staple, and mutilate you, and everywhere you've made it your job, and all the platforms and intertwining of cognitive dissonance of that, times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Oh my goodness. While we're at it, how many platforms and intertwining cognitive dissonance do you have to create poverty of any form? How much of it is nothing to do with you or yours? Everything that is, times a godzillion. If you take that combined with the process I just ran about trying to make your parents and your family happy unsuccessfully, so you have to be in a nonstop state of judgment of you, figuring out what you can do. Huh. How much of what you thought was your reason for poverty has nothing to do with what you thought it was. All the platforms intertwining of cognitive dissonance and everything else, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Times a gazillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 100, pod, poc, shorts, boys, povads, bases, creations, and beyonds. Okay, people, I got one last process for you. What would happen if you were out of control, out of definition, out of limitation, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearity, and out of concentricities, with miracles and miraculousness? Times a god, everything that doesn't allow it, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. So, another thing I'd like to do with you really quick is there are three things that are on every dive in. One of them is this process. What have you made so vital, valuable, and real about shortening your perception of time that keeps you from creating what is time? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, poveds, bases, creations, and beyonds. Run that if you want to get more space with time. Sounds weird even saying space with time, right? Okay. In other words, you'll be able to have a lot more ease. If you're somebody who's perpetually late, run that process. Very helpful. Another one is what we call the crazy phrase. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. And that's on there because, boy, can it be helpful for unlocking any place you're doing contracted or crazy in your life. Okay. So please take that as a tool. And then one of my all-time favorites, a tool that I used to use all the time when I started Access. And then I got so many other tools and was part of creating so many other tools that I forgot about my trusty best friend tool that was changing everything for me. Darn it, I'm a terrible friend. And recently, when recognizing Gary and I were talking about it, and he's like, I've been running this. I'm like, oh my God, I need that too. It's all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And that is also on every dive-in loop at the very end. And these are all things that you can use to contribute to you and actually getting present in your life in a way that, that's really beautiful for you and not necessarily understandable or explainable to others. If you have enjoyed this particular live, then dive in is probably something you would like a lot. Okay. So dive on in, and in doing that, always follow your knowing. Okay. There's so many wonderful things we have available with Access Consciousness, including Access Me, which is the school for expanded awareness and consciousness that is friggin' amazing also. Our target is to gift you everything we possibly can that will allow you to know you and get to be the awesome you that you sometimes get to access. We would like you to access it all the time. So there you go, beautiful people. That is it for me for now. Dr. Dain, signing off. Peace out, my brothers and sisters. Thank you, and thank you to all the beautiful people behind the scenes. You guys are wonderful. I wonder if I can make hearts at you. I bet I can. Woohoo! Success! Ooh, who's the Zoom master? This guy right here. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.